Welcome to Get It Done Entrepreneurs, where we talk with founders of companies who bet on themselves and won. My name is Rich LeBrun, and I am the founder and CEO of LeBrun Advisory Group. You can find us at rlebrun.com. Our mission is to help our clients build wealth through business ownership. Stick around to the end of the show and we'll reveal how you can be our next guest. Our special guest today is Kara Brown. She's founder of Lead Coverage, a team of marketing and sales enablement consultants specializing in all the pieces of the B2B conversion cycle: martech, stack building, which I learned is CRM automation, sales, marketing operations, and enablement, inbound, outbound content, SEO, SEM, social conversion, and measurement. Kara was one of the first employees at Echo Global Logistics, which grew quickly in 3 years, and her name was on the company 2009 IPO press release. In 2017, after a successful corporate career, including Seiko Logistics, OHL, which is now Geodis, and Rubicon Global, she partnered with Will Haraway, another industry veteran, to start Lead Coverage. Kara is also an active force in empowering women leaders. She is on the board of Entrepreneurs Organization Atlanta chapter, Launchpad 2X, and co-founder Closer, a community for women in sales. She lives with her 2 daughters, her husband in Atlanta. And with all that said, Kara, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Rich. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm really looking forward to having you on the show. You have a great background, which we all want to learn. So let's just kind of start there. Tell us a little bit about your story, how you became an entrepreneur, a founder of your company. Sometimes it's voluntary, sometimes it's involuntary, but nonetheless, here you are. So give us a little bit of history.
Sure. So I was number 12 at Echo Global Logistics, which is one of the first tech-enabled freight brokers. We were actually started by the same guys that started Groupon, Eric Lefkowski and Brad Kewell, out of the 600 West building. So I was super early to this whole adventure of entrepreneurship with those guys. Had no expectation that I would be one myself. Definitely thought I would work for men like that my entire career. Doug Wagner, the CEO of Echo, walked by my desk about 3 years in and said, "Hey, we're going to go public. You want to write the S1?" And I was like, "Yeah, I will Google that and let you know what I need." He's like, "We'll give you a banker, but I'm glad you're interested in helping." So my name is on the IPO press release. It was an amazing experience. I was in my early 20s. I had no business being in the room, and they let me be a part of it. I got picked up by Seiko Logistics, which is an international air freight forwarder, and then Osborne Hesse, which was 6 years into a Welsh Carson private equity deal, which ended up being acquired by Geodis, which is basically the French government. So my corporate background was 100% supply chain. I was very much in the space. And then I realized that I could sort of do this and people would pay me for this experience, right? I had 2 babies under 2. I was in my house in my pajamas trying to figure out something to do like most women do. I started doing what I had done in corporate and just doing it by the hour. Fast forward to 2024, we have 39 employees. We are hitting the $10 million revenue mark, and we're having a blast. We're loving every second of it. It's so much fun.
That's a fast track. Very good. How long do you say you've been in business for?
So we've been doing this really in a material way since about 2017. I did start the business, like technically started the LLC in my pajamas with 2 babies under 2 in 2012, but in a real material way was 2017. And the new headquarters is in Atlanta. So we moved to Atlanta for a job. When I exited the last sort of corporate job I had, I thought, let's just do this. And I actually learned the statistic that less than 2% of all female founders will break $1 million in revenue. And I thought to myself, okay, that doesn't seem that hard. Let's do that. So we did that. It took us about 8 months. And then the Entrepreneurs Organization told me, hey, your next goal is $10 million because that gets you into the next club. So the number of women that break $10 million bootstrapped is statistically irrelevant. It's so small that nobody tracks it. So you can imagine my next goal.
Yes, and you're on a mission to change all that, I can tell already.
Yes.
Okay, 2017. I know you went through COVID. We'll talk about that in the third segment. But well, we're at 2024, so 7 years, right? Been in business. looking back, talking to yourself back then, knowing what you know today, are there some things that you would do differently and why?
That's a good question. I wouldn't change anything, right? I wouldn't go back and say, hey, I would say that differently or do something differently, but I think I would warn myself about getting really real about the talent that you need on the team to get from 1 to 10. The talent on the team at 1 million is different at 3, is different at 5, is different at 10. And I will imagine, I've never run a business bigger than 10 million, will be different at 20. And it isn't about the humans necessarily that you hire. It's not a character assassination of the people that got you from 0 to 3. It's really just a skill set. It's a skill set and experience and what the business needs at the moment. And so I think earlier in my career, specifically in my entrepreneurial journey, if I had been able to decouple the human that I wanted these people to be with the skill set that they brought, it would have been a lot easier for me to find the right talent at the right time. So I've gotten a lot better at it. I'm definitely not perfect, but we are doing a better job of finding the right talent for the right size that we are.
Did you have to restructure by maybe laying off and rehiring, or is this a reallocation of skills?
We don't know. We've never had to do a layoff. I have had people quit. Like, I'm out. I'm done with you. You're a terrible human being. So less me choosing for them to leave and more them choosing to leave me. And I really believe that if I had seen these individuals for the individual contributors that they were, and not the partners that I wanted them to be. So the hopeless romantic in me, the optimist in me, always thought that these people would be my ride or dies. Like, oh, they're going to come on the team and they're going to change my life and the business is going to grow like crazy and they're going to take a piece of equity and we're all going to make a bunch of money together and it's going to be great. And then they get into the business and they're like, no, I'm not doing that. I am not interested in helping you build your dream. That is not what I signed up for. And you're a terrible human. And so I think I, Kara, have to sort of lower my expectations on people sometimes, because for some people it's a job. It's a job. And for me, it is not a job. I have 40 people who depend on me to pay their car note and put food on the table. And I take that responsibility really seriously. And not everyone that I've hired for leadership roles has taken it as seriously as I do. A lot of times it's been a job. So I think that if I were to give myself some advice, it would be, and I don't know how I would have done this without learning it the hard way, to decouple the human from the role you need executed. And a friend of mine says, structure before people. So if I had learned and actually executed structure before people in like 2017, I think it would have saved myself a lot of heartache and money, if I'm honest. Like I would have saved myself a lot of money and heartache.
Try to describe the difference between $1 million company and a $10 million company.
Process.
Besides revenue, but
yeah, I mean, it's really process. It's when you have a $10 million business, that's 40 or 50 people. Every single person is asking you for something every single day. So a laptop is missing, can I have PTO? This client needs extra attention, and it's just maximized, right? It's just multiplied. It's like, I think actually Jim Gaffigan has this hilarious joke where he says having a 5th child is like drowning and then someone hands you a baby, right? That's what going from 1 to 10 million feels like, especially if you don't have the right team, right? Using resources that are appropriate for a $1 or $3 million company at the $10 million level just don't work. Like you're going to drown in the amount and the volume of work you have to get done. And we're almost at 10 now. And I can see the gaps in what's coming for us, right? And I think that's your job as the entrepreneur or as the leader, is to look forward and say, okay, we're going to hit 15 million in the next 3 to 5 years. What are the gaps that this team, not the humans themselves, which is where I went wrong in the past, not the humans, but what are the gaps in the skill sets on the team that I need to backfill? And it's not about the character of the human and that they can't do the job. It's that your list of things that need to get done get bigger, right? And the risks get bigger, right? It's just everything is just scaled, for lack of a better word. It's just scaled.
So let me ask you a question. You got to 1 million. I don't. Was that a surprise, or was that you knew you'd get there?
No, we actually, there's a really funny memory I have of clicking the button on QuickBooks to run the rolling 12 over and over and over again, and then billing customers, and then doing it again, and then billing, and like waiting for the moment. But the $1 million was definitely planned. In the entrepreneur organization, there's a graduation point. So you're in EOA, or the accelerator program, until you hit 1 million rolling 12, and then you graduate into EO. So this was a meaningful moment for me. We were all planning on it, everyone in the team. Actually, at the time, we're an all-female shop. And so we were going to break $1 million with an all-female team, and everyone was super excited.
So you had rapid growth, though. You hit $10 million in 7 years. That's fast.
It's been wild.
I was going to say, was that a whirlwind? Kind of buckle your seatbelt and hang on. We're getting there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no other way to say it, right? And that is, I mean, back to your original question, which is like, what would you change? That is not for everyone. Like that super fast growth, nonstop, balls to the walls, like we're going to do this hell or high water is not everyone's game, right? There are a lot of people who just want to go to work, punch a time clock, 9 to 5. I don't want this much stress. I don't know why we're freaking out this hard about, top line revenue and growth and profit. So I think if you're along for the ride, it's so much fun. But if you aren't that kind of person, it can be a lot. I can be a lot, right? And then also on the other side of the table for an employee, having a leader like me who is as driven as I am and ambitious as I am, it can feel like a lot from a character perspective. Like, hey, this woman is like really aggressive all the time. But I'm not like maybe necessarily aggressive. I just have really big goals.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we're going to go back to a couple more questions, but one more going forward or thinking forward, going from 10 to 15 or 10 to 20. Are you more calm about that? Like that's more within, I got this now. I can go to 15 compared to going from 1 to 10.
It's a good question. I think the answer is yes. I am more confident in that I know what it's going to take, and I'm aware of the gaps, right? I've gotten some really good advice along the way. I think getting from 1 to 10 is a journey of learning. And I think I'm a lifelong learner. So just this year, I got to go to MIT, Wharton, and one more, Yale, no, Harvard, doesn't matter. I've been to so many. So London, I was at the London School of Business this year. And I've been to Harvard. I've just the amount of learning that I have done in the last 7 years, I am so much more prepared for what's coming than I was going from 0 to 1. 0 to 1, I had read Vern Harnish's book, Scaling Up, and I was trying all the things and, wearing 10,000 hats. So I think I've learned a lot along the way. And I've also learned a lot about what I am not going to do. So going from 10 to 20, I am no longer doing finance, right? I am no longer hiring people. I am not doing the things that are not my superpower. And the 0 to 1, there's no one else to do it. Like you have to do it all, even the stuff that you're terrible at. So I'm looking forward to the next journey, this like path to 20, because I get to surround myself with really strong talent.
When you hit 20, you're going to come back on the show. We're going to talk to you about that too.
I'm in.
All right. Now, you've obviously been very successful in a short period of time, and you had some decisions you made, you look back, maybe you would do differently, but you made some really good decisions, obviously, to get to where you are today. Can you think of a couple that you said, yeah, I did that right?
Yeah, there's 2 that I think are really smart, if I do say so myself. One is picking a niche. So we picked supply chain super early on. Clearly I come from supply chain, so it was pretty easy for us to do, but we easily could have picked something else. We could have picked all of B2B. We could have picked, e-com specifically, but we didn't. We picked supply chain. It happens to be an $8 trillion market. So it's enormous. We think of supply chain as the physical movement of goods, the tech that moves the goods, and the money that moves the goods. And then we happened to live through COVID, and all of my clients got EBITDA drunk, and it was awesome, and everybody made a lot of money, right? So that was one. One was picking a niche. The other thing we did that was really smart, and I got this from a guy in Chicago who will remain nameless, but he's one of my very dear friends and still a mentor today. He said it will cost you just as much to run a $2,500 account as it will a $250,000 account. So charge as much as you can and get people to pay you in advance and as much as they're willing to pay you, because it'll cost you just as much to run the little one. So we have a very specific model. We are not the cheapest provider in the marketplace. If you're looking for a cheap shot, it's not us. And we sign 12-month agreements with an annual commitment with a retainer model. So we are a retained model. We've said no to private equity. We've said no to growth capital, and we're very sexy to those groups because of ARR, right? So because we have really strong recurring revenue, really deep customer relationships, they get really excited about that because we're not doing project work.
Right. Those 12-month contracts make you very valuable.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They tell me they'd like 3-year contracts, and I'm like, okay, like everybody just take a breath. Like 1 year is enough, right?
Yeah. We'll build our company for you.
Yeah.
All right. Now, wait, great segue. Lead coverage. If someone didn't know, that could be interpreted a lot of different things, right? So take this commercial break. This is your time, to share to our listeners what lead coverage is. Who is your customer? Should they be listening? They would know. And anything else, if you have anything you want to promote, book, event, anything, it's your time, Kara.
That's so nice. Thank you. So lead coverage is the largest go-to-market consultancy in supply chain. So our target customers are anyone who touches a truck, a plane, or a boat. And we do anything that touches the go-to-market engine, including analyst relations, public relations, demand gen, lead gen. And then we actually have a team that will make the first dial, which is kind of fun. So that's what we do every day, all day. We did write a book. It comes out this fall. I'm super excited about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you going to give us a little hint, or is that we just got to wait?
Yeah, no, it's called The Revenue Engine, how to build a high octane B2B pipeline. And yeah, I'm super excited. The foreword was written by Sangram Viarhe, who wrote ABM is B2B and Move. So he has a go-to-market approach. And then my AI chapter is written by Manoj, who is the CEO of Sales Intel. So really excited about having some really smart people build this content with me. And then I believe very, very deeply in just giving it away, right? Like if you can do what we can do for yourself, here's the book, this is the roadmap, we're writing a workbook, you can have it and do it yourself, but it's actually pretty hard to do. So once you try it, come on back and we'll do it for you, right?
I love it. Now back to your customers, is there a certain size company that makes sense, that fits well with you?
So the short answer is no. The long answer is that we will take startups all the way up through enterprise. Startups are hard. They have a tendency to run out of money, which is a challenge for us. So we like to make sure they can pay their bills. But also enterprises just really become something special for us. We have very specific account-based marketing, ABM, and intent data expertise that works really well in supply chain for the enterprise space. So we've been going up market, which has been awesome, but there's still a soft spot in my heart for your $200 million freight broker who's trying to make it. And that's where I came out of. Those are my guys. Those are my people.
Yeah, don't lose sight of them. Okay, let's shift. Now going forward, we talked a little bit, covered pieces of it in this earlier segment, but we had talked about what do you do as a leader, a founder of a company to head off all these headwinds. Now, logistics, is very instrumental, follows the pattern of the economy closely, right? COVID, we saw the nightmares that happened with supply chain and things like that. So with all the headwinds we have, inflation, labor shortage, political unrest, wars, you name it, we got it going on, and an election coming up. Do you see this as a time to grow, to expand, to pivot, or is this a time to maybe sit back a little bit on the sidelines, kind of sit and watch, or is it time to retreat?
I think if you're not growing, you're dying. So if I wouldn't be a very good entrepreneur if I told you that it's time to retreat or sit back and rest on your laurels. We've built a business that is cyclical depending on the freight market. So very specifically, great example is COVID. When your toilet paper was not in your grocery store for you to buy, my clients made money. When the COVID vaccines came out and they needed to be in every CVS, my clients made money. So the supply chain guys got kind of EBITDA drunk in the thick of the pandemic. So they did really well. And it was also in the news. So we have a PR engine inside of Lead Coverage. So during the pandemic, the PR engine went bananas, right? We had tons and tons of customers that wanted to be in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal and CNBC, and that was great. And now that there are leaner times for the freight, the very specific freight market, so the truckload market is sort of having a rough 18 months or so. LTL is doing fine. They want lead gen, and they're looking for, how do I get the 2% edge over my competitors as we come out of this freight recession in 2025, hopefully 2025. And so long story short is our business works on either side of the market. So from an advice perspective, I would say if you can find a way to build yourself a suite of services or a dual-sided marketplace where you're servicing both the bull and the bear market of your niche, it's pretty smart. That's what we did.
So you are in a niche market. Do you see a straight edge going forward? Do you see you got to pivot a little bit, adjust, 5 degrees left or right? Or are you pretty much just on target for the next 5-10 years?
It's really funny. When I talk to private equity about like, hey, can we buy you? The second question I get is, when are you leaving supply chain and getting into manufacturing or something else? And I tell them, when I have exhausted the $8 trillion market in supply chain. Like, not only that, we sit at this really interesting intersection of marketing technology and all of the cool stuff happening, right? So the Sangrams of the world and the Sam Jacobs of the world and outreach and sales loft, like we are very much immersed in that engine, right? ABM, all the things happening around intent data tech and supply chain. So we sit at this really interesting intersection because we get to see all the cool stuff happening in martech, and then we watch our supply chain clients ignore it for like 10 years, right? Like we have big customers, and I mean like material size customers that do not have a CRM. They don't have a marketing automation software. Like they can't send email. We have a large customer that is using MailChimp to send emails today. No joke. And so the whole idea of us like expanding outside of supply chain is kind of ridiculous, because there are enormous companies, like enterprise level companies in any other industry in terms of revenue and even size of employees, that are using like antiquated technology and don't even have the slightest idea what a decent go-to-market strategy looks like. So we wrote this book. We want to share it with the industry. We want to become the thought leaders around go-to-market. We want to train the next generation of really great marketers for the marketplace and make market leaders, right? So we're making market leaders out of our companies, our clients. We're making market leaders out of the individuals who work for us. And then we're making market leaders out of the individuals inside of our clients, right? We're so lucky. There are 3 of the gentlemen that we work with inside of customers that have all been promoted to VP or C-suite. And I'm not taking credit for it, right? But because of some of the work we've done together. And that is just such a powerful, it's a powerful experience to be able to do that for someone.
Yeah, it's what a great experience. You get a chance to win, but your clients win even more, that's really rewarding.
Yeah.
Okay, last piece of the puzzle. You are a mom, right? You're a wife, you're a CEO, founder of a company. You gotta get up on Monday morning, you gotta lead the charge. So what's your secret sauce? Do you use mentors? You have a certain discipline you follow? Do you sleep a lot? Eat well? I don't know what it is, but what is it that you have a lot of energy? I already could tell just by our conversation here shortly. But what's your secret sauce?
So I try to do all the right things, right? Eat well, exercise, spend time with my children, all the things. I think the number one thing is that I have a house manager and I have an assistant. We actually just got rid of our last au pair. So my girls are 10 and 11. So they've had full-time childcare since they were babies. I haven't had to worry about laundry or who's doing school pickup because it's just been done. We have had a house manager. We just moved, but we've had a house manager in our house in Atlanta for the last 2 years. And she is the wife that I've needed, right? Like she takes care of the things at home that I can't take care of, especially when I'm on the road. And I think the system that we have in place as a family, so my husband works in the company too. He's our COO. The system that we have in place as a family is really important to us, and having really clear boundaries around what we do and don't do. So I am a firm believer that you have 10, 100, 1,000, and $10,000 hours in every day. And it is my responsibility as a leader to free myself up for the $10,000 hour. And now that we're close to hitting 10 million, it's $1 million hour, right? And so if I'm doing a $10 task, like returning stuff to UPS or ordering groceries for the week, right? Those are $10 tasks, unless I really enjoy them. I actually do enjoy putting food on the table, but unless I enjoy them for myself, then they're just an opportunity cost towards the $1 million hour. So my husband says I have staff, and he's not wrong, but it's intentional so that when I do spend time with the family, or when I do get to have an opportunity to spend time with my kids, that I'm not worried about who's doing laundry.
I love it. It's fun. I've never heard the word house manager before, except for a couple of weeks ago, I ran across a woman who is a house manager. So second time I've heard this. So I love what it is to run your house.
Basically my wife. That's what it is, right? Yeah. My wife. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, you mentioned mentors in the past. I mean, you used them. You have some people around you that to build into you.
Oh, always. Yes. Many men, as a matter of fact. There's a couple women, but mostly men that have been with me on the journey. It's really funny. I was talking to someone the other day about there's a couple guys that call me kiddo, like, because when I worked for them, I was in my 20s, and they still call me kiddo. And I'm like, I'm a 40-year-old woman now. Like, I'm no longer a child, but they still think of me as someone that they can mentor and help me grow. And I think one of the cool things about writing the book that we wrote is asking these people for endorsements and recommendations on the book, right? Because you don't talk to them very often, especially in my life. I'm not asking for references or referrals anymore. I'm not getting jobs, right? So that was really fun to kind of go back in time and think about all of the people that helped shape my career and help get me here, so that I could ask them for an endorsement for the book. So that was really cool.
Well, kiddo, I could say that because I'm much older than you. I'd be one of those people who abuse that word. But anyhow, thank you, Kara, for taking time here. I know you're extremely busy. You're on your way to your 15, 20 million. So thanks for letting me stop halfway and get a chance to meet you and talk with you, and for you sharing your wisdom to all our listeners. I am always grateful for people willing to give into other people who are founders and leaders in their company. How can people get a hold of you should they want to learn more or utilize your services?
Yeah, of course. You can find me on LinkedIn. I post to LinkedIn just about every day. I have a shocking amount of LinkedIn followers. You could call me a supply chain influencer, which is kind of hilarious, but true. And I'm Kara Smith Brown on LinkedIn, or you can find me at Lead Coverage, Kara@leadcoverage.com.
Well, thank you very much. We'll capture all that in the notes. This podcast will be produced in the next 2-3 weeks and can be found on all podcast platforms as well as YouTube. And again, we thank you for your time, and we look forward to your book coming out. When that comes out, we'll help promote that as well. Yay, I'm looking forward to that. And then we hit your $20 million mark, we're going to save a spot for you as also.
Sounds great. Anyway, thanks so much for your time.
All right, have a great time, and thanks again for taking time today. Rich LeBrun here. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast, Get It Done, Entrepreneurs. If you are a successful business owner who would like to be on this program, please visit us at rlebrun.com/podcast and fill out the form, and we will reach out to you. If you got something out of this interview, would you share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on the socials. If you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag GetItDoneEntrepreneurs. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more? Go to our website, rlebrun.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time.